Tell me, Steve, going into this weekend of MotoGP, did you expect to see a Yamaha on the top step, or like me, were you expecting to see them running around in about 10th?
I didn't expect to see Yamaha anywhere near the top, to be honest with you. If you'd have asked me before the race what I expected to see, I would have said something completely different to what the outcome was.
Yeah, and even if we were going to say it's a Yamaha, yeah, I could see Yamaha winning this. It was certainly not Franco Morbidelli,
No,
who I would have predicted was going to win this race.
not at all. I think if you had put your money on a Yamaha, it would have been Quartararo from the start.
Yeah.
The outside faithful who believe he will be there till he's 97 would have put Rossi.
Yeah.
And
Vinales was posting great times all weekend up until the race.
He did his usual, didn't he?
God, just a bit, yeah.
The opposite Sunday man. The Saturday man came through.
That's it, testing and qualifying man.
Yes, yeah, just not a race day man. Bless him.
Yeah.
He'll get there.
That's it. So, guys, hello, I'm Tim, he's Steve. This is For the Love of MotoGP, and this week we are talking about the first of 2 rounds at Misano. And, I mean, I enjoyed the race. I actually think, well, I say I enjoyed the race. I enjoyed the final result. I thought the race was actually pretty dull until the last few laps.
It became a freight train, didn't it? It was quite an even gap. No one was really moving around that much. I think dull is probably a good way to describe it. Everyone was glued to the screens, though, because we had the people at the front that we just didn't expect.
No, exactly. It was so nice off the line just to see Morbidelli just go. And I was watching for those first few laps, and I was like, shit, Rossi's going to take the lead here. I was like, yeah. My initial thought was, wow, can Rossi actually win his home race? And as the laps ticked by, it became quite evident that no, he was not going to do that. But it was still enthralling.
That's the bit we like about the race, though, is that although we can say it's a dull race, it still has enough to captivate you.
Certainly, and enough to talk about afterwards.
Exactly. We could have a dull race, and we've said it before we started recording, years gone by, how are we going to fill this hour?
Yeah.
We've had races where it's just been literally someone's led from the start, and there's been maybe 3 or 4 overtakes in the entire race.
Yeah.
And it is literally a procession, and we've gone, shit, what are we going to talk about? But now we've got to a point where it's just, even a dull race gives us so much to discuss afterwards.
Yeah.
And, this was just not a weekend I don't think anyone expected.
No, not at all. Not at all. And like we say, and I mean, we're saying it's dull, and it was, the first 4 or 5 laps were pretty good. And then the middle 15 laps were a bit shit. And then it really picked up again in the last couple of laps. Like seeing Johan Mir carve back through, seeing like Rossi desperately holding on for that podium. What would have been an amazing VR46 Academy podium. I really wish, I wish Rossi had done it to see, because that might have been his only chance. I mean, we've got exactly the same race again in a day or two, but that might have been his one and only chance to stand on a podium like with 2 of his riders essentially.
Oh, if it would have been like an awesome lockout for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he has come out and said that there was points during the race. He was like, "Why do we start the academy?"
Yeah, I heard that when Bagnaia blew past him, he's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, whose idea was it to start the academy?"
Yeah, but at the same time, he's done something that has solidified the future of this sport
and completely solidified his legacy now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw the press conference earlier today.
I saw one clip on Instagram of Frankie Morbidelli not being there.
That was brilliant. Rossi had to call him.
Yeah.
It was like on the phone. He's like, "We're all here waiting for you. Where are you?" He's like, "He's on his way."
Yeah, on the stage.
Yeah. Like the world's waiting for him, and Frankie's just like breezing in.
Yeah.
5 minutes late, just like, I had some shit to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm just finishing my hair.
Oh, I really like him.
I think he's absolutely brilliant. I think he's that kind of character is exactly what you need in the sport.
Yeah.
Well, they all are. They've all got their own characters, which makes them unique, and they all gel well together.
Yeah, certainly.
Which is amazing. But in the press, they had to write down 3 answers, 2 of which were correct, and 1 was false.
Okay.
So Rossi's answers were:
what was
one,
the question?
Just write down. There was no real question. Just
Okay.
write down 3 answers, true or false, basically. Guess the wrong answer. It was everyone else had to guess the wrong answer.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of some of the others. I think Dovi's was something like he hates snakes. He's always on time, and he likes press conferences.
Okay.
So the last one was obviously not true.
Okay, so it's just 3 statements about themselves, is it? I'm with you now. Okay.
Yeah. There was multiple choice, pick the wrong one.
Yeah.
And Rossi's 3 were: he is young, he's rich, and he's famous. I was sort of like, I don't know if that's very arrogant or he's just got, he is who he is, so he can do it.
Yeah, exactly. It is one of those things. If it was anyone else, you'd be like, you prick. But because it's Rossi, it is quite funny.
Yeah, it was just like everyone thought it was funny. Everyone laughed at it. I was just like,
Yeah.
I push that boundary.
That's it. I think at this point in his career, he's sort of just like, look, I know a lot of people hate me, so I'm just going to play on that now.
He is Marmite, isn't he? You either love him or hate him.
Yeah.
And, there's obviously far more people who love him than hate him. But there's always going to be haters.
Yeah, exactly. There always is. And there's plenty of Marc Marquez haters at the moment. So
Exactly. There's plenty of people online who have been idiots saying the race is so much better without him. Don't bring him back.
I mean, arguably, this season has been more exciting because he's not there. Because to be fair, if he was there, he'd have probably won 4 of these 6 races and he'd be storming out to a massive lead in the championship.
Yeah, that is the debate, isn't it? Is it better without him? I personally like having him there just because I want to see what he could do.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather he was there, but this season arguably has been better so far for him not being there.
Yeah, it is hard to argue against the season not being better that way.
Yeah. But then it might be just because he's not there that this season feels so special and so different. And maybe if he comes back injured and never performs at the best again, this season's going to be like, they're all going to be like this for a long time. And it'll be like, oh God, I just want someone to dominate and I want someone to come out and crush it. I don't want these random winners all the time.
Yeah, but it's quite funny to think that, an injured Marquez could come back at the same level as everyone else.
Yeah.
It goes to show, I saw a picture on Instagram of him earlier. He was out cycling still with his bionic arm covers. You think just to go through
something going on there, man, because I've never seen a brace or a cast or anything like that.
That's very different to anything I've seen. I did actually do some internet little investigation.
Okay.
And I can't find anything.
Yeah.
There's literally, I put in upper arm surgery cast covers.
Yeah.
And you get the ordinary cast. You get the shield, not the shields, the sleeves.
Yeah.
Right sleeves. You get the tape in. But I could not find anything that even resembled that sort of.
It's like bionic arm thing.
Yeah. So obviously he's paid. He must have paid someone to come up with some fancy gadget that is going to help him recover.
Yeah, certainly.
But I'd love to speak to whoever designed that, came up with the idea, and thought this is going to help.
You probably find it's a Honda engineer somewhere.
It's probably some dude out the back who rocked up. I was like, hold up, son, we got some ice here. if we pack ice under this bit of titanium, that'll keep the heat in. That'll keep the cooling in. And it'll also get everyone going, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, quite.
When really, he'll whip it off 10 minutes later and just bang a cast on.
Yeah, I feel like that if he rode for Ducati, that would certainly be something that they'd do in the Ducati garage.
It would have wings on it, mate. It'd be a lunchbox hanging off the bottom, a little aerial sticking out the side. It'd have been through 4 wind tunnels by now.
Yeah.
Gigi had been there like, no, let's scrap it, start again.
Yeah, don't like it, do it again.
Yeah, do it again. It's not carbon fibre-esque enough.
Yeah.
I put my beard on it.
Oh dear. Right, so shall we, rather than getting too distracted talking about what ifs and the hope that Gigi one day will design medical gear, let's dive into the race then.
Let's do it.
So this track, the track was recently resurfaced just before COVID and before the lockdowns in Italy. And I have to say, man, this might be the worst resurfacing job we've ever seen in MotoGP, except maybe for that Silverstone track that just became a pond.
I saw one worse.
Okay.
And it's just up the road outside my house. It was laid by Dave and his mates on a Friday afternoon.
Yes, this is like something Dave and his mates might have done. It appears that rather than...
Sorry, I must apologize. If we got any Daves who listen, who work on the roads, I am forever sorry. I didn't mean it. It's just the bloke that did that was shite.
Yeah, was his name actually Dave?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a shame. But this one, yeah, it was almost like they hadn't... When they pulled the tarmac up, they didn't just smooth everything out again and plane off the bumps. It's like they just poured tarmac on top of old tarmac.
You see, that's what I mean. That's what they do here in the UK. They just get that can out and then spray some shavings over the top.
Yeah.
It just looked awful. You watch some of the bikes, even down the straight, the vibrations. You can see the wings flapping.
Yeah, and into the corners, like they're just like on full lean, and then it's just bump, 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 bump.
Yeah. I think there was a couple of crashes because some of the bigger bumps. But we know the tracks under heavy braking do ripple up. And to me, it seemed like a very old surface.
Yeah, but it was super grippy, wasn't it? This is the problem they were having.
That was it, because it was new. Although it was bumpy, you still got tons and tons of traction out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they did. Really don't know what they did. But it looked like it was giving them hell.
It did, and yeah, there was less. I was watching the race and I was thinking, this looks awful. And they mentioned it a few times, and I heard a couple of riders talking about it, but they weren't talking about it as much as I expected. It's not like some tracks we've gone to in the past, and they've been like, this is dangerous, we need to do it, we need to remove the bumps. Remember at Texas one year, we went, and they're like, no, we cannot come here again next year unless they resurface this.
Yeah, but I think a part of that because it was an old surface, they didn't have the grip as well, did they?
Yeah, that's true.
So you put the two and two together, they were hitting the bumps and then didn't have the traction to hold the front.
Yeah.
So being a grippy new surface, they're almost like, say, skipping across the top of the bumps, but then it was grippy enough to actually hold you up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It didn't look fun.
It did not look fun. I mean, you know, anyone who's ridden on the road will know what it's like if you hit a corner and it's a bit ripply on the road. The surface isn't anywhere near as good as what you're going to get on a track. You think
you're on a road bike with like road tires and road suspension and everything is designed to do that. You're not on a super stiff carbon fiber reinforced like.
No, this thing flexes underneath you, but you still feel it skipping a little bit.
Yeah.
What that must feel like on one of those things where you feel every single movement that bike is making.
Yeah, I can't imagine, man.
No, I'd love to find out. Would shit myself. But yeah, they just deal with it, get on with it. And some of them, by the end of the race, were making it look silky smooth.
Yeah, they were. It was strange. I wonder if that was just a lower fuel load.
It might be. And if you watch some of the racing lines, there were several people taking very different lines to others.
Okay.
So I think some had worked out where they could go a little bit wider, it's less bumpier. If you just nipped this corner a little bit, it was a little bit better on the inside.
Okay.
So I think that given the end of the race, they sort of worked out, or before the race, after like free practice qualifying, they worked out where they could get the best out of the machines and at which spot on the track.
Okay, it might be quite interesting then, the next race, that they've got all that knowledge again.
It could be. I think we could have a complete reverse of what we saw this weekend, but, you know, we'll wait and see.
But you're going to see Aprilias and Hondas winning this race then?
I think, I don't know. The last doubleheader we had, the second race was almost nothing like the first one.
That's very true.
So I think we could have a completely excuse me, I'll start again. I think we could have a very similar. I'm going to give up.
Yeah, you really struggled with that one, mate.
I'm making a meal out of this. Just edit this bit out, will you?
No.
Yeah, I know you. I know you'll leave this in. I'll listen to it back. The show's online. There's me in the middle going. I'm just going to give up now.
Okay, so on that, let's dive into Aprilia.
Yeah, let's do that.
So, my notes for Aprilia aren't very friendly. I will read you exactly what I've written, which is, do we have to keep talking about Aprilia? I'm so over them. I really hope they can sort their shit out, but I'm not hopeful.
I like this. When I first, what normally happens is Tim and I make notes. Normally Tim makes better notes than I do. So he sends the show notes to me. I opened it. The first thing I read was that. I was like, yeah, the rest will be fine. To be honest, I didn't read the rest.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like Aprilia, we've said it a lot this season, and I feel like they're not giving me anything else to talk about. All I can say is I was hopeful for them at the start of the year. Things looked good, and they're not good, are they? They're just not good.
It just seems like it's gone back to the default setting. I'd really love to sit down with someone like that. Both one. I'd love to sit down with Aleix and Bradley and say, look, what the hell? What would you like? What do you need to make this bike competitive?
Yeah.
And just just get a no bullshit answer.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Just if there was a way of getting them to sit down, a clause that said, right, you won't get in trouble for this. Tell me as it is. What's the bike like?
Yeah.
But there has to be, Aleix just signed again. So there has to be a lot of faith there.
Has he signed again?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
So there must be faith. Aleix is a damn good rider. So I can't fathom it. I really cannot put a figure on what's wrong. You know, during practice and qualifying, sometimes they look unbelievable.
Yeah, and they do have even tests. Sometimes they look really, really good, and then that's just it.
They look good in the testing this week.
Yeah, and I've got no faith whatsoever that they'll improve from this result that they had.
No, if we come out this weekend and Aleix is within the top 10 and Bradley's within the top 15, I will be amazed.
Yeah.
It has got to that point where I just want to go down there and slap someone. And just, because I think they deserve to be there. They've obviously put effort in enough to keep it going this long.
Oh, yeah.
So I truly believe they need to be there. But it's just, they just don't seem to be able to go any further. They have become that bike that, you know, if you were to turn around and say, what bike do you not want to be on in the grid? Your answer is going to be Aprilia.
Or Honda.
Or Honda at this minute, yeah. Unless you Mark Marquez, he'd like, give me my bike back.
Yeah, quite. So we did see, like, Aprilia, we haven't really even spoke about where they finished, but Bradley Smith qualified in 20th, finished in 19th, but crashed and remounted, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Aleix Espargaro qualified 13th, finished in 13th. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, if we go back and look at the old show, it's hard. It is really hard. The first thing is, I don't want it to be hard.
Yeah.
I want it to be, unless you're Rossi and his Viagra pills. Got to drop that in there somewhere. You know, we want to be saying, chatting about Aprilia, saying, look what they've done.
Yeah.
Look what's happened. You know, all of a sudden, the results are starting to step up.
Like KTM. I'd like to be able to talk about Aprilia like I talk about KTM.
Yeah, exactly. I think Aprilia, at this point, they need to get rid of their weird backroom setup.
Yeah.
Rewrite a 3-year plan where you need to be, and just go for it.
Yeah. Just
absolutely go for it. There's no doubt there's money there. Get the pot. Identify exactly what you need.
Yeah.
And just go for it. You've got a bike that clearly kind of works, but Ducati had a bike that clearly kind of worked, and they binned it. Just do the same.
Yeah.
Just start again, refresh, hit reset, come back, you know, win the gulag and come back.
Yeah, quite.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Sorry, I was just on a bit of a rant, and they annoy me. Really, really annoy me. And I watch when they're on the telly. I watch intently at where they are on the timing tower.
Yeah.
Every week without fail, just because I want to see them creeping up. The order, it just never happens.
No, they just don't seem to do it. They always give us hope, and then they take it away.
Yeah. They just frustrate the hell out of me.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to another disappointment this season, shall we? And we'll start talking about Honda. To run through their riders, Crutchlow did not qualify. He was deemed unfit to race after his arm pump surgery.
Did you see that?
Oh mate, I saw it. And you sent it to me, didn't you? You sent me the link, and I clicked on it, and I was like, "Oh, Cal Crutchlow is talking about sensitive content." I was like, "What's this?" So I clicked on it, and I was like, why is that an arm? Like, what's going on? Is that muscle? And I flicked to the next one. And it's like a video of it moving, and I was like, oh, good lord, that's surgery on his arm.
Yeah.
And then I sat there and spent 5 minutes just flicking back and forth through it, and I was like, oh my god, this is weird.
I was on Instagram and it popped up like sensitive content. I was like, of course, click this.
Yeah.
Hit it. And I was like, instantly, I'm not a squeamish person, but initially when stuff like that pops up, I'm like, whoop!
Yeah.
Straight away, green. And then after a little while, when you sort of looked at it through your Mr. Spock fingers, I'm like, whoa, that's not that bad. And then watching it, I found myself doing the same thing. I was like, that's moving.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? And I was looking at, and this happens to me a lot. I remember I've been to like anatomy museums where this happens to me, where I'm looking at something like that, and I'm like, we are all just made of meat.
Yeah.
And that's
you could just marinate that and barbecue it.
Quite, and that is often what I think when I look at it. So I didn't realise I was going to be confessing to be maybe a possible future cannibal on the podcast, but there we go. I've done that now. So Cal Crutchlow looks like a tasty, tasty man. I think that's what we've learned today.
Oh, I'm tweeting him later.
Right.
Tim reckons you're tasty.
Oh, God. So Taka Nakagami, anyway, qualified 14th, raced to 9th. Alex Marquez qualified 21st, raced to 17th, and Stefan Bradl qualified 19th, raced to 18th. For Honda, man, things do not look good, do they?
Taka is still saving the day.
Riding last year's Honda.
I know, that's bad. Real bad. I don't know. That bike is made for one person. Oops, sorry. That bike is made for one person and one person only.
Yeah.
And, you know, Taka has done an amazing job of taking last year's data and just making it work again.
Yeah. But we say work again. We've got to remember Marc Marquez won this race on that exact bike last year. So
that is true. But then, obviously, without no disrespect to Taka, he's no Marquez.
I mean, that's fair. I think you can look at the entire grid and be like, he's no Marquez. You can look at Alex Marquez and be like, he's no Marquez.
He's definitely not a Marquez. Bless him. If I was Alex, I'd be extremely frustrated.
I would be livid. If I was Crutchlow, if I was Alex, if I was Stefan Bradl right now, I'd be pretty pissed with Honda. Because Honda are this actually makes Taka Nakagami look very good. So I think Taka Nakagami is probably quite enjoying this season. But for Marquez and Bradl and Crutchlow, Honda are making them look like idiots. And it's just not. It's not the look you want, especially I think it's probably worse for Alex Marquez because he's never been able to prove himself at the MotoGP level, whereas Stefan Bradl's had a shot. Cal Crutchlow, we know, is a proven race winner. Alex Marquez is just stuck on this awful, awful motorcycle, potentially the worst motorcycle Honda have produced in the last 5 years easy. I would say, to watch how people are riding it, this is worse than the 2015 Honda that Marquez couldn't take to a championship.
Yeah, definitely. It goes to show the failings of Honda. I mean, it's not the riders.
No, it's not the riders at all. I mean, Stefan Bradl, potentially, you could put some blame on because he is their test rider. But
he's only testing the parts he's been asked to test by HRC.
That's very true.
You know, another rider's asked for this. Honda have given it to him, slapped it on Bradl's bike and said, go test it. Bradl's gone, yeah, I could just about make this work. They give it to somebody else. Yeah, boom, lovely.
Yeah.
Off you go. But no one else can do it. They, again, very similar to Aprilia. I think they need to just have a step back and make a more rounded package.
Yeah.
You can't expect everyone to ride the most extreme motorcycle out there and get the same results.
No, that's fair.
And it's clearly not working. I'd love to see what Bradl and Alex Marquez would do on a 2017, 2018 Honda.
Yeah, that would be fun to put them, on like the 2018 bike. Was it the 2018 bike? It was just super dominant.
17 and 18, I think.
17 and 18.
Almost an absolute rout, weren't they?
Yeah.
Just to see, just as a comparison, if, you know, somewhere in Japan, Honda have got one stashed away, wheel the thing out and just see what they could do.
Yeah, well, we know Honda haven't got one stashed away, haven't they, from what
what Fabio said.
Yeah, but they just destroy them every year.
Yeah,
Which is probably something they're regretting right now.
maybe they must have. Anyway, yeah, infuriating because there must be a museum somewhere with one.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what they could do. Evidently, since that time, Honda have gone down just a one-way street.
Well, they've done that thing. I don't think they've even. I don't know. We know those are like the Honda was good a few years ago, and I think it's a bit like the Ducati. Is that they've just made it worse and worse, but they've had their primary rider just be able to ride around the problem.
Exactly. If you got a guaranteed world championship, you're going to throw what you can at getting it.
Yeah.
And if that means keeping Mr. Marquez happy, he's going to make it work.
Yeah.
Give him what you want. So Honda, have got one sole purpose of winning the championship.
But can you imagine if what happens is Marquez either doesn't come back now or comes back and then can't see out his full contract and he leaves, and then all of a sudden Honda are in the same position as Ducati were after 2007 was their last championship and their only championship. Can you imagine if Honda then went 6 years without a win and 13 years without a championship just because they've followed this one rider?
Then that's their own bloody fault.
Oh, it's mental, man. I don't know. I feel like heads are going to roll at Honda soon.
I think they will, and I think they're probably rolling already.
Yeah.
Because this is their longest spell without a win ever?
Potentially. I don't know. I wouldn't say ever, would it?
Might not be. We'll have to ask the...
It's certainly their longest spell without a podium, I think, ever.
Yeah, but still, it's Honda.
Yeah.
Rethink time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something needs to change. Hopefully, Marquez will come back and they will have listened to the other riders. We've always said Crutchlow, he should have done better. But I'm now thinking he couldn't have done any better because no one else could have ridden that Honda.
Yeah, I don't think he would be. I think he'd be trying. I think he'd be doing better than Bradle and Marquez, but I don't think he'd be fighting. I think he'd probably be scrapping with Nakagami.
Absolutely.
I don't think he'd be performing much better than that. It's bonkers to think that if Marquez were to come back now at full strength, there's 200 points left on the table, and I still think he could win the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not seeing domination by any other riders, and not really a lot of consistency.
No.
One thing I did really mean to look up, and I kick myself now for not doing it, is I wanted to get a positions graph going for every rider and see how they had done through these races that we've had.
Okay.
Because what are we? Dovi's on, what did we say last race? 76 points, but this time last year, this time in the season, Marquez had a 77-point lead.
Oh, it's something ridiculous like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's just crazy to think. So it shows how inconsistent the other riders have been.
Yeah.
Because second, third, and fourth have swapped loads so far this year. And so he's got every real chance of rocking up. He's not back this weekend. We know he's back next weekend.
What, Marquez?
Oh, no, he's out for another couple of months yet, isn't he?
Yeah, he's out for a long time, mate. He won't be back. It is a 100% hypothetical, but I probably should have mentioned that at the start. But I do believe if he were to come back at full strength, he'd be winning it now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If he rocks back, he will... If he was to come back now, he would have every chance of winning this title.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane to think.
Yeah.
It's just... Yeah, somebody else just needs to take the ball by the horns and just go, right, this is my season.
Yeah.
Dovi's leading it now just through pure blind luck.
Through consistency, through scoring points in every single race. He's the only rider to have done so.
Yeah, so low scoring points sometimes, but...
Yeah, but, Fabio Quartararo went from winning 2 races and his results have progressively got worse every single round.
Yeah, they have.
To the DNF this round, and Dovi is leading the championship now by 6 points on 76 points. Yeah, so after 6 rounds, he's got just over 3 race wins worth of points.
Right.
And he, I can't remember where I was going with that because something just flashed out the window at me, and I got confused, thought it was a person, then it wasn't, and I thought maybe it was a ghost. So there we go. I forgot what I was saying.
But was that Haggis?
Is it Haggis? No, I haven't got a clue what it was. It may have been a cat. I also don't believe it was a ghost, so I wouldn't worry about that. Right, so where were we? I really got lost there. I apologise.
That's okay. I mean, have you seen the ghost up there?
No.
Oh. So sorted that one out.
Yeah. So that was a strange. I was talking about Dovi, wasn't I, and how many points he had? But I've closed that webpage now. So let's, while I try and work out what I was talking about, move on to KTM, eh?
Yes.
KTM. So after the weekend, or after the last few weeks, actually, I think I'd started to have an unrealistic expectation of KTM, and I kind of was thinking, oh my god, they might come out. They're going to smash the next few rounds. They're going to be in the fight for the championship, although probably not win it. They might be near the top. And it's going to be really fun. And this weekend, they kind of came out and just did what the KTMs sort of were doing last year. And rather than be like, well, it's KTMs, at least they scored a few points. I'm like, that was a bit shit. And I feel very disappointed about it.
Because they've just suddenly become so good, anything less now just seems terrible.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing how quickly expectations can change.
Yeah, it's because they've given us so much hype and anticipation. We've seen them do some incredible things. We've seen Oliveira win a race. They've just been there.
Yeah.
Binder's been right at the pointy end. Pole's been up there. Oh, he's given us some drama as well. Lecuona's just suddenly sort of started teasing his way up there as well. So anything less now is just a disappointment. And everyone who's gone, hang on, I'm going to have Oliveira and Binder in my dream team just got shat on.
Yeah, I know, it's annoying because I got Binder in mine.
That's one thing that made me laugh. I sat there and I thought, I wonder how many people are going to put KTM in their primary team this weekend. And then I looked at the results and thought,
yeah, quite.
But it is just, they've done so well. We spoke last time about this is what Aprilia needed to do.
Yeah.
And now, because they've done so well, anything less than carrying that on is just a massive disappointment.
Yeah, that's it.
So we need to sort of remember that this is the first time that they have done this well. And there are going to be some massive lows compared to the highs. But saying that, their lowest result was 14th. And they're all sort of grouped together, 10th, 11th, to 12th and 14th.
Yeah.
That's still not a bad day at the office. So we'll see what happens this weekend. We're back at the same track. Just don't finish any lower.
Yeah, that's it. And it is, it's just expectation, isn't it? It's just how it's changed. Because we saw. You did just cover the results quickly, but it was Pol Espargaro finishing in 10th, Oliveira in 11th, Binder in 12th, and Lecuona in 14th. So it was all in the points. But I just not really happy about it.
I think I feel the same. I just want to see what they could do this weekend. When some teams and riders start really doing well, I just want it to carry on.
Yeah.
And when they do have a real down weekend and don't get the results you expect, it is a real sort of that's shit.
Yeah, exactly. Did we find out what Iker Lecuona's long lap penalty was for? He obviously stalled on the start and then something happened and then all of a sudden he had a long lap penalty when he came back round. I don't really understand.
Don't know. I think it was because he stalled on the start, but I think he rolled forward. And then...
But it was only the warm-up lap, wasn't it?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I never did find out. I completely forgot about it, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it was either a jump start or he wasn't in the right starting position. I'm not 100%.
Oh, it might have been that he was in... I think you're right. I think he was in the wrong starting position. If you stall on the grid, are you supposed to start from pit lane?
I think so.
And he didn't, did he? He got the bike started again and went round. So...
Yeah.
So rather than starting in pit lane, he started at the back of the grid. Or did he start for his grid spot? Because I think actually he's supposed to start at the back of the grid as well. Yeah, so I would imagine then, and I'm sure we should have looked this up, so if anyone at home does know this, please let us know. Facebook or Instagram or email or it's all for the love of MotoGP, pretty much, easy enough. We'll actually go through those at the end, probably, for you.
We'll give them out a little bit better.
So if any of you do know, let us know, because we've obviously missed a trick here. But yeah, I imagine it's just because he started in the wrong place after stalling.
I think so. I think it was just... I seem to remember, if you're still on the grid, you have to get wheeled through that little gap in the pit wall, get your bike started, roll down pit lane, and start from the end of pit lane.
Yeah.
Although, from what we've seen, the pit lane starts recently, you really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Do you see, what was it, Lowe's one in Moto2?
Oh, mate, it's because the entry for pit lane is out past turn 3 or something, isn't it? Or the exit for pit lane, sorry.
Yeah.
It's out past turn 3, so they can't let them out of pit lane until everyone's past the exit road for pit lane.
Yeah, see, I didn't realise that. I thought it was always, say you're at X point at the end of pit lane. I always thought it was when the last rider goes past your position. But
No.
it's not. It's that white line that goes out around the track.
Yep.
And is wherever it ends up. That last ride has to go around there, which seems like an absolute year.
Well, through Misano it does, because it's round turns 1, 2, and then round 3 before they can let Sam go.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a clip of it. I was just like, what the hell? Go, man.
Yeah.
And then realised, I looked it up. I was like, oh, shit, yeah.
And he still scored a top 10 finish.
I know. I mean, right of the day, everyone was saying.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. That's a hell of a result.
Yeah, he really did have pace.
Shame, but there we go. That's Moto2.
Yes. So, right, let's get on to Suzuki, shall we?
Let's go. Oh, our screen won't move down. Why won't you move down?
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, we're there. Just having a few technical difficulties with Fred Flintstone's laptop.
That's okay, mate. Between us tonight, you couldn't speak earlier. I got distracted by a cat thinking it was a ghost trying to kill me. And then your computer didn't work properly. So things are looking good for our first remote podcast in quite a while, actually.
Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention that. You're away on your travels again.
Yes. I'm back up in sunny Scotland. Steve is actually at home isolating right now as well. So life is good.
It is, yes. We decided to have, the boys decided to get coughs and temperatures. It's only a cold. But with the world being what it is, we were responsible parents and got them tested right in the middle of the high demand.
Yes.
For COVID tests, and that was Tuesday. It's now Thursday evening. It's now 9:15. We still had nothing, and here we sit looking outside at the sunshine. Well, not now. It's dark, but we have been. There's no ghosts out there.
Imagining all the fun things you could do if you were allowed to go outside, eh?
Yeah. I was thinking they just put the overtime back up at work. I was really planning on powering that in this week, and instead I've been sat here. Well, I can't really play it on my own. I've been playing with dinosaurs and cars, so life's good.
Sounds like a great way to spend your time, man.
Yeah. It was Enzo's birthday recently. She's got a hell ton of new cars, dinosaurs, and all sorts of stuff. And to cap it all off, he got a remote-controlled Dio from Star Wars. Oof.
I don't know what Dio is in Star Wars.
You see the new latest Star Wars movie?
Is that no? What's the latest one?
Rise of Skywalker.
No, that's the 9th one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one yet.
I'm not talking to you.
That's a shame, because we've got 3 more manufacturers to discuss.
Oh yeah, we have. Right, I'm talking to you. Anyway, very quick. It's a little droid. Put batteries in it. It wheels itself around the place. Freaking awesome.
Okay. Well, let me just look it up.
Look it up quick.
Dio.
Very off topic. I do apologise here, listeners. We are going way off topic, but it's Star Wars. It's all good.
Oh, this little fella.
Yeah, that little dude.
Okay. Oh, it's quite nice. I like it. Is it just on one wheel?
Yeah.
And the remote control thing just blasts around on one wheel?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I've been... We have a wooden floor. Enzo got a mat, which is basically like a racetrack. It's a town. A bit like The Sims, but without the buildings. To wheel his little cars around. I've got pretty good at it. I'm not going to lie. But I kick its ass.
Nice. Well, there you are. At least you're winning against someone, mate.
I've got to win against something, even if it is a 3-year-old. It's my own son. But he's learning. He's getting good.
He's getting
very good. Brody, on the other hand, man, I was rewatching watching some of the tests earlier. The boy does not take his eyes off the bikes.
That's good, mate. Get him trained young.
Yeah, 4 months old, and he's like that glued.
It's just all the moving colours and loud noises I would expect.
Basically, yeah, the shapes go around on the screen. He's like that. Oh,
yeah.
What's this? I'm like that. I love you. Young Padawan's getting right into it.
Good stuff. Right, so
Suzuki, quick.
Yes, but we've had our intermission. That was the discussion we normally have at the start of the show, and it's just somehow managed to land 40 minutes in. So I apologise to the people that normally skip past that, because now you've just been forced to listen to it.
Again, we really should. We say this every time. We really should record our jabberings at the start, and just somewhere at the end of the season, put like when we get the mid-season break in a normal year, just shove a show in that it's just us jabbering on.
Yeah. Most of it's quite like that conversation we've just had about Dio, to be fair.
Yeah, most of it is just general lads chatting.
Yeah.
But some of it is quite funny, so we might have to start recording and doing that picture.
Okay, back to it. On. Suzuki. Yes. Suzuki, bloody great weekend. Suzuki were... I struggled with the order to put like the Yamaha, Ducati, Suzuki in this last bit, just because Suzuki, I feel like overall were much better than Ducati, and had a really solid weekend. With both of them finishing inside the top 5. Mir finished 3rd on the podium. That's 2nd podium in a row.
Yes.
Oh no, he didn't get a podium, did he, at the Styrian GP? He got a podium at Austria. Anyway, 2nd podium in 3 races. And Rins finished in 5th, but was, solidly fighting for that podium as well. And it was only really the last couple of laps that his tyre just seemed to go. And
all of a sudden he saw a big drop off. And he was just not able to push.
But it was fun. They both kind of had a fun scrap with Maverick Vinales, beating him up and sending him backwards. And then, Mir was so good those final lap. Mir managed to take, Rins and Rossi in one lap?
Yes, yeah. It just looked so good.
Yeah.
They were just there the whole race, just teetered around, like you say, having a good scrap with Maverick. And all of a sudden, Mir just decided to pull the pin.
Yeah.
And again, it's showing quality, pure quality.
Yeah.
They're signed for next year. The bike's good.
Yeah.
They're becoming regular podium contenders.
Certainly, and Mir is really, I feel like, in the last few races, has stepped up to be this MotoGP rider that everyone expected him to be.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's just come alive. Yeah. And in many ways, he's showing Rins up quite a bit.
I think he is showing Rins up a lot this year. I think it's going to be a very testing year for Rins. It's going to be interesting to see whether he will kind of step up to this challenge and get better and better and keep improving, or whether as soon as Mir is on top of him, whether that's it, Rins is done.
I hope it's not the latter. I hope they can find a neutral ground where they're both competitive but still very close.
Yeah.
Like we've seen in the past, say, with Yamaha, Lorenzo and Rossi.
Yeah, when we're looking at like 2008, 2009.
Yeah. Without the wall, obviously. I really like Suzuki. I like the whole setup that they've got there. They've brought in 2 cracking riders.
Yeah.
And I just hope it works. I hope it stays. They continue. I hope they don't get to the point where they're tripping each other up. As long as they keep doing what they're doing, inside the top 5 every race, pushing for a podium, job's done.
Yeah, and people are talking about Mir now as a potential champion this year. If Mir can keep scoring like he is and keep picking up results, because his first win is on the cards soon.
It's coming. After last weekend, you've got to be thinking, or he's got to be thinking, well, I can do it this weekend.
Yep, certainly.
Was he 4th in the championship now?
That's a good question. Let me have a look. I did have it open, and then I closed it after getting distracted by the ghosty earlier.
It just chuckles me.
Yeah, I honestly really don't know what happened, but we won't worry about it. Yes, Mir is currently 4th in the championship and only 16 points behind Dovi.
Exactly. So, if he has another 3rd this weekend, there's every possibility he could overtake Fabio and be suddenly 2nd in the championship.
Yeah.
You know, assuming, I mean, Miller's in third, only 4 points ahead of him.
Yeah.
So assuming Miller doesn't have an awesome weekend, all of a sudden he's got a real possibility of really pushing for the top spot.
Yeah, I think it's weird to think about. And this season, every single race, I'm like, oh, but so-and-so could be champion, but so-and-so could be champion. And I'm looking at it, and I've just looked at it now. I've got the table in front of me. Realistically, not realistically, but mathematically, I suppose, there are 9 riders that could come out of next weekend leading the championship.
Yeah, right down, what we got, 9th, Taka Nakagami on 53 points.
Yeah.
Equal with Brad Binder.
Yeah.
Then you have Frankie in 7th, who's 4 points ahead on 57.
Yep.
And then Valet and Maverick in 6th and 5th on 58 points apiece.
I didn't realise they were on equal points. That's great.
Yeah, boy. And then only 2 points ahead of them in 4th is Mir. It's so close. Then you come up to 3rd with Miller, who's only 4 points ahead of Mir on 64.
Yeah, and the gap. It's funny that the biggest gap is the one between 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, of 6 points. Which is...
Yeah,
it's insane. So you got to think, what a race win covers you down to
9th.
Yeah, that is insane. You know, got Fabio lying in 2nd. If he has a mirror image this weekend and drops it and scores nil pyro again, stuck on 70, everyone else is just going to pull up to him.
Yeah.
And overtake, he can find himself going from 2nd potentially down to what? Well, 7th or 9th.
Oh, it's fun, man. Oh, this season is fun. It is fun. We were talking earlier, and I know I was like, you know, it might not be the best season, but it is fun. I am enjoying it.
I think you'd be hard pushed to find anyone who isn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
Except a die-hard
Marquez fan. Yeah.
They're the only ones who are not enjoying it because he's not there.
Yeah.
But we could rock up in any pub, in any town, in any country right now and start talking to someone about MotoGP, and I think we'd be hard pushed to find anyone that said this isn't an awesome season.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, we could rock up any bar in Spain, you know, wearing an Italian football shirt and just...
I mean, maybe not in Spain, because I feel like in Spain right now, they're probably not having the best time of it as MotoGP fans, with Marc Marquez not being there, with their Repsol-sponsored Honda team just nowhere.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
You
live on the edge.
That's it. A country, I'll tell you what, that will be enjoying MotoGP greatly right now will be Italy.
Yes.
With Ducati, with Dovi now leading the championship. On those 76 points, even after finishing 7th in the race at Misano. Far from the worst Ducati, but also not the best. Francesco Bagnaia finished as the top Ducati in 2nd place.
Yes.
We saw Jack Miller finishing in 8th place, just one stop behind Dovi. And then Petrucci, man. 16th place for Petrucci in the race.
It's just gone off, hasn't it?
Properly gone off the boil. Even Zarco was ahead of him in 15th, and Tito Rabat didn't finish.
Yeah, there was a quote came out from Petrucci. He said he's just not enjoying himself on the bike anymore.
Yeah.
And that's obvious to see, man. It just ain't happening.
It's not happening at all, man, is it? Not at all. He's rolling around outside the points. This man was winning races a year ago.
Yeah. Whatever happened after last year's summer break has shot this guy to hell.
Yeah, I mean, he did just lose his granddad, didn't he, apparently, this week?
Yeah, he's not had a good run of luck.
No.
Bless him. Lost his good friend.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it just doesn't seem to have worked for him.
No, not at all. I wonder, and I do hope for him, that the move over to KTM next year is going to be kind of a big, fresh change for him.
I think that is sometimes the key for some people. Have a reset, have a cleanse almost.
Yeah.
Reset. Go have a new challenge. I think is the best way to put it.
Just a new environment, and especially going into Tech 3, we know from what Dovi said that, and from what other people have said around Ducati, that like it's not a fun environment to be in, that Ducati garage. But
I would imagine it is probably the most serious place to be in
yeah,
the entire pit.
yeah, and it's just a weird place where it always seems like you've got to watch your own back because someone's always trying to fire you. Whereas, like, to work under Hervé Poncharal in Tech 3 seems to be almost the most like loving, supporting, like almost family type environment for any MotoGP rider.
Yeah, they don't. You see some teams like people on pit wall, they all look very serious. And yes, it's their jobs. It's a very serious environment.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money being thrown around. Let's be fair.
Yeah, I mean, at any what point there's. How many bikes have we got on track? 24?
Yeah, well, I think they're supposed to be.
Yeah, so let's say you got 24 million worth of bikes out there. That's a lot of money. Plus everything it takes to the background. It's a very serious sport.
Yeah, well, you think that's just for the bikes. Think of all the R&D and stuff that goes into it.
Exactly. That's just what you see flying around there. It is a very serious thing. But then you get sometimes the camera stuck in the face of Hervé, who always makes a joke out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at him when the camera panned in on him when Oliveira was about to win the race. Yeah. And he's just making a laughing joke out of it, chewing his nails. Whereas if you were going to other garages, say, it would be steely-eyed on the screen.
Like Lynn Jarvis.
Yeah, Lynn, there's sometimes where I think, he borrowed Medusa's eyes. And I wouldn't want to be in shooting distance of him. And there's other times where, they just want to race and you can't shut him up.
Yeah.
He's doing an interview and, there's some serious people there. And the Ducati garage just seems like they've turned the coffee machine off. And, everyone's out of bagels. It just...
Are bagels Italian?
I don't know, but I'd imagine they. I'm just going down. I've really fucked it up. But there we go. Here's that podcast. I've been locked in here too long. I need to get out.
Yeah, you'll get out soon enough, mate. So Bagnaia, we'll go with Bagnaia here because he is obviously. I don't know if it is obvious, but it looks like he's going to be favourite for the other factory Ducati seat next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll be sat alongside Jack.
It looks that way, especially after this result. And I don't know, Ducati have said they'll make the decision in about 6 weeks or something.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like they've probably already made the decision, right? We can say it's probably going to be Bagnaia.
I think they're just waiting to see what Zarco does. If I'm
Zarco's
honest,
really going to have to perform over the next few rounds for me to think that he's a better idea than putting Pecco on that bike.
Yeah.
Not that it's up to me, obviously. I mean, I wish Ducati paid me for it to be up to me, but alas.
You wait, that phone's going to ring tomorrow. Yeah, Tim. Oh?
I mean, that would be great. If anyone wants to get hold of me, just hit us up on the podcast. I'll give you my number.
Drop us a message and I'll pass you on.
Don't be just handing my number out to anyone, though, Steve. Not just people, just any random strangers. Just start asking.
I stopped doing that, I promise.
After the last time.
Yeah, after that incident, which we won't talk about. Yeah, if we don't see Bagnaia on the Big Red Machine next year, I'll be highly surprised.
Yeah.
We know Dovi's off. Miller's already signed. Zarco is a little bit inconsistent still.
Yeah.
Rabat, I don't know. if somehow he ends up at Factory Ducati.
I don't think Rabat's even going to be on the grid next year.
No, I don't. Although, is he signed?
I don't know, but I think we're certainly learning quickly that contracts don't really mean much, do they? There's always out clauses for both sides.
Yeah. It is a shame. I like Tito. But, yeah, that sun is setting.
Yeah, I think especially when we look at the fact that we know Bastianini's coming up into a MotoGP Ducati, a Ducati MotoGP team next year.
Yeah.
We know that Jorge Martin is going somewhere next year. We know he was in talks with Ducati and with Pramac.
Yeah.
That would be all the spots filled. We also know Luca Marini appears to be in talks with Ducati as well. And there's rumours linking Marco Bezzecchi to Ducati too. Now, even if there's just too many seats, or there's too many rumours for seats, but I could quite easily see them binning off Rabat and taking Marini and Bastianini on the Avintia or Esponsorama squad.
I just call it the Ruben Zaus team.
The Ruben Zaus team.
That's shorter.
That seems to be what all the commentary teams are calling it this year. Now, I didn't even know he was anything to do with the team until this year, when all of the commentators across every platform just started talking about him a lot.
Yeah, I have no idea where this came from, because he already had a couple of races. Then all of a sudden, he's there.
Yeah.
Now, I followed his career when he was racing the superbikes on the Infostrada Ducati. And all of a sudden, he sort of disappeared. I had no idea where he'd been, no idea what he'd been doing. And all of a sudden, he's in the Ducati garage.
Yeah.
Taking full credit for Zarco.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I'm like, well, where the fuck have you been?
Yeah, if anyone knows the story of that as well and can point us in that direction, please let us know.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, he's just like, someone's out the back with a magic lamp. Ruben.
Yeah, they're like, right, we need someone to really save the day here. Get Ruben out. We need to get Zarco on the bike.
Yeah, and that's where he was. They're keeping him in the cupboard out the back. Right, we're fucked here. Get Ruben out.
Yeah, get Ruben. He'll come save the day.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's obviously done something good and favourable in that team, because he is there.
Yeah.
And working it and making it work.
Yeah, he does seem to be making it work. So we'll see. I think it'll be nice to see Bastianini on that bike next year, and I think we can say Zarco's either going to be. Well, we'll probably assume he's going to be on the Pramac machine, don't we, next year?
Yeah, I think he'll be on the Pramac machine. He's come into it, and he's obviously proved his worth ahead of Rabat. So I think at this time, Ducati would be very silly to get rid of him.
Yeah.
They should try and keep him. Yeah, I think we'll see.
I think they've signed him for next year, haven't they? He is signed for next year, but we just don't know where he'll be.
Yeah, I think he's signed a Ducati contract, not actually like a Pramac or...
Yeah, in fact, I think Tito Rabat is the only person riding a Ducati who's not on a Ducati contract.
Yeah, he's contracted to Ruben Zaus's team.
To a Sponsorama.
In for something. I can never remember. I did try the other week to actually sit down and just get it in my head of what it was, and I just kept going back to Avintia.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Sponsorama.
The only thing that really annoys me about that is I listened to our last podcast back, and anytime I say Avintia, the old Norfolk accent comes right out, which is really annoying.
I'd never noticed.
Listen, fast forward it to a Ducati bit, and there's me going Avintia. That's more Cornish, but there you go.
Oh, that's gold. I'm going to really enjoy that. Maybe that's what I'll do, mate. I'll just go through all the podcasts and pick out your most Norfolk moments.
Don't. Because, the Essex sort of comes out quite a bit. But then every now and again I'll say a word and it is pure gold in Norfolk.
That's amazing. I hadn't noticed, so it can't be that bad.
You probably just got used to it. I'm just like sat there going, cheers, Dad.
Oh dear. Right. So Jack Miller, qualified 5th, raced at 8th. He, I don't really know. He seemed to perform very well at the start of the race, and then he was riding up. There was a point where I was like, "Wow, Miller's on it here. He might even be fighting with the Yamahas." And then it was just dropping, cruising around in 8th.
Yeah, I think he cooked his. I think he tried to keep up so much at the start of the race that he cooked his tyres.
Okay.
And in doing so, obviously, in the second half of the race, he just dropped back. But there's a point where I was like, this is going to be awesome. You know, this is why they signed him to the factory team. He looks really good. He looked really smooth. And then all of a sudden, a few riders caught up with him, and he just couldn't match the pace.
Yeah.
And I was really, to be honest with you, I was really disappointed because I really like Jay. He's one of my favourite riders. I just sat there thinking, right, he's just dropping back a bit. He's letting the others catch up. They'll fry the tyres. He's just, cruising around a little bit slower because he's saving his. But no, he cooked. In my opinion, he cooked them, and just dropped back down to 8th and just couldn't. Yeah. Bloody infuriating. Sat there like, come on, have a hat on and everything.
Right, so that I think covers Ducati for us, doesn't it?
Yep.
And then onto Yamaha, then onto the team that scored a 1-2-3-4 in qualifying, with Maverick Vinales qualifying in first and smashing the lap record to bits, Franco Morbidelli qualified in second, Quartararo third, and the Doctor in fourth place. So I don't really know what order to take this in. Let's take it in their finishing order, shall we?
Yeah.
So Quartararo then finished as a DNF, stuck behind Maverick Vinales for quite a long time. When he eventually got past him, he started to push straight away and just... Now, I don't know if you spotted this, but I was watching the race and I heard the crash. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, someone crashed and no one's talking about it. And then it was like a few seconds passed and then they cut to him, to Quartararo going down to the gravel. And the BT Sport commentators, I can't remember, Neil Hodgson, he said something like, I just heard him crash in my headphones. I was like, why didn't you bloody say anything then, mate? But
yeah, I remember hearing the same. I was like, well, hang on, they'll cut to it now.
Yeah.
And it was a few seconds later. Because they often say, someone's crashed. And then the camera pans to it straight away.
Yeah, that's it.
Bloody infuriating.
Yeah, it was it was a weird crash, but it was he got frustrated, and then when he got past, he just pushed too hard, and it was done. The weird one was him getting a bike up and running again, pulling back into the pits, and then was coming back out onto the track for some reason.
Yeah, I don't really know what that was all about.
It didn't last long, did it? It lasted like 3 corners, and then he had a cold tyre crash, and he was straight back in the gravel. But
as far as I was aware, if you binned it, that was game over.
I mean, you can get up and continue, and you can get up and go into the pits, but I just don't know why they bothered sending him out again.
No, something was clearly wrong, though, because like you say, he binned it straight away.
Yeah, well, I think that was a cold tyre.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to rescue as many points as possible. Rush of blood, let's go for it. Cold tyre down.
Yeah.
Bad weekend. Considering the form he had, that form has gone.
Yeah, well, I'm still putting him as my favourite to win next weekend, or this weekend.
Yeah, but I think it will be a toss-up between, I don't know, any of the Yamaha boys for the win, really, if you're going to take the form of last weekend.
Yeah, I think, or Mir.
Oh, Mir, yeah, Rossi being probably my least expectant of the Yamaha boys.
Yeah.
Mir, I can't see one of the Ducati boys doing it, unless Bagnaia pulls something out of the bag.
Yeah.
You've got to go with, well, if I had to pick him in 1, 2, 3, Quartararo, Frankie, Vinales.
Yeah, that's probably... Actually, I don't know if I'd go that. I'd say Quartararo, Frankie, and Rossi's more likely than Vinales.
It's a hard one to call, isn't it? No one expected a 1, 2, 3, 4 last weekend.
No.
I'd love to see someone, if anyone has got in their fantasy league all 4 of the AM boys, let us know.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Quartararo, but obviously that did nothing for me because of his DNF.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly who I've got now, or who I keep saying it's me. It should be us, really, because it is under our name.
That's okay, mate. I've got one on there. You've got one on there. We won't worry about it.
Yeah. What's that? 11 of us in there altogether. Whoa, what happened? Something just happened.
Right. While you do that, I'll jab on about Rossi for a minute.
I'm back.
So Valentino Rossi, really great start. Pretty much, I said at the beginning it was quite a boring race for most of it, but I think Rossi had quite a good run for most of it. I think he was probably having quite a lot of fun. He was very close to Franco in the early laps.
He was looking really solid at the start.
Yeah, and then Franco just started to pull away, and then it was after Bagnaia passed him, and then Mir got him on the very last lap. But it was quite a fun scrap, and it was quite almost a stand-up, your heart rate's picking up a little for the last few laps, much like the Styrian GP in the last few laps.
Yeah. There's a big part of me at the start of the race thought he's just going to absolutely go for it here. He's going to put everything on the line and just first or nothing.
Yeah.
But he kept his head, rode a very cool race. But there was a stat went out where there was 420-something corners in that entire race, and he lost it in the last 7.
Yeah.
And that must be, as a rider, that must be so infuriating, especially as well. We spoke about this before we start recording as well. 2 of your own academy boys.
Yeah.
just went past you and screwed you over.
Yeah.
Somebody you've nurtured and have put money and time into to win races has just fucked you over.
And they've both been world champions for the academy.
Yeah. There was that quote that said, we spoke about it again, that he was like pointing in the race where he thought to himself, why did we create the academy?
Oh, whose fucking idea was this academy or something?
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. But good things will come from that academy.
Oh, they certainly will. They certainly will. So Maverick Vinales finished 6th in the race. I've sort of screwed up the order already, but we're just going to roll with it. Finished 6th in the race. From qualifying on 1st, and then just dropped back. He put on that hard tyre, and I looked at it, and everyone else was on mediums. Why did he put on the hard rear tyre? We all know Maverick cannot race the first 5 laps of a MotoGP race, and he really only comes into his own at the end. So why exacerbate that problem by putting a tyre on that also won't work for the first half of the race, but will be good at the end? It seems to me like it would be a better idea to put a soft tyre on that's going to be really good at the beginning, and then as Mav improves and the tyre drops off, at least he'll be consistent.
I think he was going for almost completely the other way. I think he was hoping that he could match the pace just enough to be in the top 5, and within like a couple of seconds, right up until the end of the race where that hard tyre is still coming good and everyone else's tyres has gone off and they're slowing down, because he's so good at the end of a race. I think he just went too tactical.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's so lost in his own head that he doesn't know what's happening now. I don't think he even knows what day of the week it is anymore.
I think sometimes it does feel like he's clutching at straws for ways to make it work.
Yeah.
And I think this is a classic example. I think the only way it is going to work for him, he just needs to get that early race pace sorted.
That's the problem. Is that there's something just that's not right there, and the problem is as well is after the race and stuff, like he looked devastated when he came into the garage, but then in all the post race, like the debriefs, the press conferences, he seems to just be saying, well, I don't know what happened, but everyone else knows what happened. Everyone else knows you put the wrong tyre in. Like and he just never seems to be able to admit that the problem is his decisions or the problems with him. There's always something else. And I just don't think, I don't know, like I've said before, I'm convinced he's never going to win a world championship. I mean,
if this carries on, then he won't.
No, I think he'll win a few more races probably, but I can't actually see him being in MotoGP for more than like another couple of seasons.
I think he will be. He won't be on a Yamaha.
Yeah, he's not going to be on a race-winning machinery.
No, he's got to get to grips for the end of this season, because I could start seeing Yamaha getting really frustrated with him.
Yeah, certainly. Especially when you think they've already, they've essentially made him the number one.
Yeah.
They're we know Rossi's out at the end of the year. Him and Rossi are level on points this season. And you'd say Rossi looks like the stronger of the pair right now.
You'd argue that, yeah. What will be his downfall be next year if he comes in and Quartararo steps up and beats him?
I think it's a when Quartararo slaughters him, not an if.
Yeah, it will be when. I just hope it's not too soon in the season. But I think it will be. We know Quartararo is good off the blocks.
Yeah.
So if he comes in, let's say worst case scenario is next year we roll around to Qatar, first race out, Quartararo does Fabio by 2 places. Fabio does Mav by 2 places.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
If that continues, Yamaha are going to start looking at Maverick, pile the pressure on like hell, and just start questioning, why didn't we keep Rossi? We might as well keep him.
Well, that's it. And actually, now we're looking at Morbidelli and the way he's coming on this season as well. I think Maverick seats under threat from Morbidelli.
Absolutely. Yeah, if Frankie keeps on this form, you might as well just swap colours.
Yeah.
But then you've got to ask the question, if they're outstripping the factory boys on the machines they're on, stay where you are.
Well, I mean, that's a good point too, yeah.
Why risk it?
Yeah.
If there's a reason why you're beating them, is it the bike? Is it the team? Is it the machinery? Is it the parts? Stay where you are.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see next year, actually, to see how Quartararo goes in the factory team.
Yeah, we say every year, but there's already points at this point in the season coming up which we're going to look forward to next year. We're going to be looking for. This being one of them.
As soon as the rider signings start, man, like I'm always like, oh, I can't wait for next year.
We normally start pinging messages backwards and forwards. Have you seen this? This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Make notes. Normally my calendar's full of like reminders for next year. Look up this. Check out this. Stuff will go off in my pocket when I'm at work. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I forgot I sent that reminder for 6 months ago.
Yeah. Glad I did that. That only leaves us one Yamaha rider to talk about.
That does indeed, and that would be Franco Morbidelli, who qualified second and raced to first.
We need to start calling him Jimi Hendrix, though.
Jimi Hendrix, man, he looks like such a cool, suave rocker. Like he oozes cool, doesn't he? When you see him, like it's a bit annoying. He's one of those people that you look at, you're like, he's just so effortlessly cool that he doesn't try. I don't think he even knows how cool he is. He's that cool that he just walks around like, oh, I really like him, but he's also annoying because he's just so amazing and likable.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. He's that bloke who you could roll up to his house, you're going out in 20 minutes, he's still playing PlayStation.
He's not even playing PlayStation, he's still in bed.
Yeah, probably still in bed. And he will just come down after chucking a shirt on and just make it work and look like he's just come off the catwalk.
Yeah, he certainly would. He'd be reaching into the glove box of your car to get your aftershave because he hasn't put any on. And then it would smell better on him than it does on you for some reason.
Yeah.
And then he'd be, as soon as you walked into the pub, he'd be the first one to go out on the pool and he wouldn't even realise he was doing it.
No, exactly. Wanker.
I feel like we both might have a man crush on Franco Morbidelli here.
I do. I was looking at him earlier at the press conference where he was like so fashionably late. And I was just like, he rolls in and just pulls it off and then sits there like, yeah, styled it out. Yeah. Sorted that one. Won the race last weekend. Favourite for this weekend.
And it was a great win, to be fair. Like pulling, like getting the whole shots, getting it off the line to turn one. He was leading, and then he just chipped away, pulled away.
Yeah, didn't push it, didn't do anything but what he had to.
No, exactly.
Just tense every lap. Not Jorge, half a second. It was just enough.
Was a tenth here, a tenth there, chipping away. By the end of the race, he was 2.5 seconds down the road.
Yeah, that's all you need. It's a race win.
Yeah.
Don't push it, and he just consistent. His tyres still look good, and he did, honestly, to me, he looked like he could keep going around that track for another race.
Yeah.
And just still come in the same position and just pin off the same times.
Yeah, that's it.
And, if you're Petronas, Razlan, I can't remember his last name, you're grinning like a Cheshire cat.
Yeah.
Although one of your riders binned it, you've got two race winners on arguably the best machine out there.
Yeah.
Happy days. Absolute happy days. And John McPhee won in Moto3 for him as well.
Yeah, exactly. They had a bloody great weekend.
Yeah, and then what was it? Xavi Vierge had fourth.
Yeah.
In Moto2. Yeah, go have a party.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a decent weekend for them.
Yeah.
And I think they're just going to only have another good weekend coming up, aren't they? But Franco Morbidelli being the 5th different winner from 6 races this year. And the 4th first-time winner this year.
Yes.
So it kind of baffles me that out of the 5 winners this year, only one of them has ever won a race before in MotoGP.
But that's good. That is very good. It shows the guard has changed.
It does, but it also says that this is going to be a bit like 2016, and we're going to have a ridiculous year with so many different winners, because by the end of this year, I could see Rins and Mir both winning a race. I could see both Pramac Ducatis winning a race.
Yep.
We still got Mav and Rossi to potentially win a race yet. That's another 6 riders. We could be looking at 11, 12 different winners this year.
Let's be.
Pol Espargaro may well win a race yet.
Yeah, every now and again he has flutters of like just flirting with the podium, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah. We could realistically have a season where more than 10 riders, more than half the riders on the grid manage to win a race.
Yeah, even Binder.
Yeah. He's already gone and done it for us.
Yeah. He has. Damn it. Yeah, screwed that right up. But you know what I mean? It's got so much potential to be just a savage year.
Yeah.
And sorry, I was going to say thank God for the coronavirus, because otherwise we wouldn't have had
it. Well, it's not even that. It's more like, and I don't want to say thank God for someone hurting themselves, but the reason we've got this many different winners is because Marc Marquez isn't here. Because I think
Yes.
if you look back through the history books the last couple of seasons, there's been a lot of weird podiums, but Marc Marquez has always been winning the races.
Yes.
So we just haven't remembered it. And so the rest of the field probably has been this inconsistent for the last few years. But it's just now you take away Marquez, and it's now very obvious how inconsistent it is.
Yeah. Normally we're concentrated on him. He's out in first, and he gets the TV time. Sometimes he don't, 'cause he's too far ahead. But now you can really sit down and see what happens behind him.
Yeah.
Take that element away, and we've just got purebreds, second place down to 10th place racing.
Yeah, and it's just a scrap every weekend.
It's just great. It is really, really good. I want Marc Marquez back as much as the next guy, because I still maintain that he could go on to do much more. I might have to rethink my Agostini record after this. Might have to see how he goes for the next few seasons. But he's still got the potential to come in and light it up again.
Yeah.
And just come back strong, mate.
Yeah. That's it.
One thing we did not mention about a Yamaha rider
Go on.
is that blue pill.
Oh, Valentino Rossi's helmet.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, so Valentino Rossi obviously always taking his special helmets to Misano, as he does every single year. But yes, the Viagra helmet, I really enjoyed. I thought it was great.
It was such a piss take of himself. I mean, not to sound too bad, but have you seen his missus? Yeah. Popping a blue pill, mate.
Yeah, he's a man with a sense of humour, and I think that's just shown more and more. And I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the sort of the fuss that was made about it as well, with everyone being like, "Oh, he's putting a Viagra on his helmet. That's pretty ballsy. Good old valet."
Yeah, I mean, we saw several great helmet designs this weekend. Another one being Frankie's.
Frankie
awesome.
Morbidelli's helmet was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, but to purely come out and just basically take the piss out of yourself.
Yeah. Just because you're the old man of the grid.
Yeah. Need a little bit of help here, lads. Down the chemist. Good on him.
Yeah.
Why not take the piss out yourself?
Well,
just have a laugh.
Exactly.
When I first saw it, I sat there staring at it. I was like, is that a Viagra packet?
Yeah, I wasn't sure when I first saw it. I was like,
Really?
why has he got a blue pill? Oh, he has. That is a blue pill. Yeah, I'm there.
To start with, I only saw it as he was holding it from the front down.
Okay.
I was kind of craning my head sideways to see what it was. I was like, is that a Schmint? No, that's not a Schmint. That's a packet. I was there for about 10 minutes. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, that's great. Is that a Schmint? I feel like that's a reference that only people that... I don't know, when was Schmints even a thing?
Probably before you were born.
Not before I was born. I certainly remember them.
Oh, right.
But
Before you were out of short trousers.
potentially that, yeah.
I don't know, a fair while ago, mate. But that's the first thing that popped it there. Then I was like, oh, that's one of them.
Oh dear. Well, good from Valley. And I don't know what he's going to do this weekend. If he's going to have another new helmet or just his standard, or whether he'll stick with that one.
I think personally he'll have a standard. That is really going to surprise us all and have a second special helmet.
Yeah.
Because there is rumours that there might be 2 pills out of that helmet packet.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of talk. We'll get onto the testing in a bit. But there's a lot of talk of where that second pill might have fallen.
Clever.
Yeah,
yeah, I do get it. So on that note, shall we dive into testing? If you want to take the lead on this one here.
Yeah, I'll have to find the notes. Where are the notes? I've lost them. Ooh. There they are. Hang on. Got to the old man thing and put my glasses back on. Right. Yeah, some of the manufacturers were actually quite tight-lipped over what they've been testing.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah, I tried to look up a few things. I kind of put it in order of what I knew. The most obvious thing being Rossi testing that exhaust on the Yamaha, because that was a bit blatant and hard to miss.
Yeah, I guess if you could pop over to our Instagram and you'll be able to see the photos of that exhaust, right?
Yes, yeah, I've put one up on there. I mean, the thing is huge. We're normally used to seeing the slash cut exhaust on the Yamaha, nice and sleek.
Yeah.
If anyone can remember back to like the 2004 Yamaha, that had quite a long exhaust, but it was just a pipe with a very small muffler on the end. This is more, it's very similar to the Suzuki, but it's more trumpet style. It's rounded. It's not a twin exhaust, and it just kind of tips over at the top. But
it seems to be the longest exhaust I've ever seen on a MotoGP bike.
It is hideous. It's one of the most ugliest things I've ever seen. But it is massive. It almost comes to the end of the seat unit.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, I did do some investigation online. I mean, the main theory on this is it's going to release the engine pressure on those valves.
Okay.
To kind of make the engine durability longer. But it was said he was working on the exhaust and some other setup bits to try and free up a bit more top speed.
Okay.
So, yeah, whether it is to do with the valves or whether it is linked to just in general engine performance, but whatever it was ugly.
Yeah.
But if it does work, we have got to face the fact that we might see it again,
which is quite upsetting.
I kind of hope they paint the damn thing because it is just. Don't get me wrong, the welds on it look pretty nice, but Jesus, you got a lovely dark blue black bike and then this huge slab of just silver steel.
Yeah, it's not a nice looking addition, is it? But then at the end of the day, I guess if it serves a purpose, if it makes the bike faster, if it gets them a couple of tenths a lap, it's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah. His teammate Vinales was tested, apparently did extensive work with the medium rear tyre.
He's getting ready for the race.
Yeah, basically. You read between the lines. He's just basically used the test so he had extra bit of practice to see if he can make it work.
Yeah.
Apparently they had a new chassis on offer. Another thing he tested was new rear finger brake.
Okay, I heard he was going to be testing the new rear brake.
How much difference that makes, I don't know.
Well, a lot of the riders have gone over to that, haven't they, rather than the foot brake, because when they're leaning and in like sharp right-hand turns, they can't get to the rear brake on their foot because the foot's just on the ground and the ground's in the way. So that's why they're moving over to either thumb brakes or like that second lever. But I think Dovi rides one. I think Marquez doesn't, as far as I'm aware.
I don't know. I think Marquez might do because there's pictures of him from tests last year with a rear thumb brake on his left hand.
Oh, okay.
So he might do. I haven't seen, obviously, not seen much of him this year. So whether he was running it, God knows. Yeah, I know a lot of riders do.
Yeah.
They tested that, and apparently they both had swing arm options to get through as well.
Okay, so they had quite a decent program then.
Yeah, they had a lot to test. They've been very tight-lipped on the progress or the feel, say, from that exhaust, whether it made difference to the engine or not. There'd been very little that I could find scouring through like the internet or social media about it.
Okay.
Which is slightly frustrating because when they do televise the test, you can see bits and it's just like dangling a carrot. We want to know how you've got on. You know, this has made a massive difference, and it's just infuriating. Especially when you like us and you're like massive fans, you just want to know all the little snippets of information. It's like, come on, feed us something, just a little bit of something, anything. No, nothing. All right.
Yeah, no, nothing today.
Yeah, literally, it's just like slamming a garage door. Done. Get out of here. But apparently, like Quartararo wasn't testing anything new, just literally working on setup and just general race pace. And Frankie sat it out because he had an upset stomach.
Yeah, I heard about this, and that sounds to me like he might have been on an epic hangover or on a bit of a come down.
I think he was on a bit of a come down himself. I think that party might have gone on a bit too long.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expect.
Yeah, so but you can't blame the lad.
Well, no.
You know, he was obviously well enough to do the press conference today, but you know he's had a couple of days recovery time.
Yeah,
he was hidden out in his trailer, just kind of recovering from that Sunday, Monday, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah,
exuberance.
A bit of a bender.
To be fair, I think I'd probably go off on a bit of a bender as well.
I think I'd like to do what Ian One did and like just go to Ibiza for the weekend after he won his race.
I know, it's just seeing some of the pictures of that. It's like everyone else was just like at home and he's just partying up on a yacht.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't realise till the other day when he started posting his pictures. I miss seeing him in the pits. And just the general bravado
The
on
swagger
social
that
media.
comes along with him, yeah.
I was just like, ah. And we're actually thinking about it. We haven't heard a thing about his appeal yet, have we?
It's very soon, I think.
Yes, it must be very soon. I've had nothing. Not that we're actually in contact with anyone close to him or around the court case. We steal our stuff off social media. We don't steal it, we're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, who we got next?
KTM.
Yeah, apparently working on the rear brake issue because apparently that was what hindered them at the weekend. Rear braking issues with rear grip.
Okay.
Doesn't have turning issues, so that was basically what they were running through. All 4 riders were all 3. I course had it out to be fully fit for this weekend. So yeah, literally working on the rear end just to get it going around the corners better.
Okay.
Ducati, another really tight-lipped one I could not find anything on. Really bizarre one as well, because Miller sat in the pits. He had some technical issues to start with, and there was pitch shots of him just going to sleep in the pit. Just literally had a mask on in his seat, just head back, snoozing.
Nice.
Just whatever that technical problem was, something stopped him from going out. We saw Zarco had a weird crash, halfway down pit lane.
Okay.
Or just on the exit pits. You just saw him wheeling a bike out, bits of bike on the floor, looked like he'd taken the wing off. But you could see the pits right behind him. So
That's
God
weird.
knows what had happened to him. Yeah, really weird one. And then a couple of seconds later, Rabat's engine blew up.
Oh, wow, okay. So did Zarco, do we know if it was a technical issue or was it just a cold tyre crash? Or?
I couldn't find anything.
Okay.
Couldn't find anything yet. Whether something has been released now, because that was only yesterday, sorry. Haven't seen anything. But Rabat's engine blow up did cause a little red flag because they just wanted to check if there was any oil on there on the track, but it wasn't. Thank God there was just an internal. So, but then you had a complete contrast. We had Dovi went out, was so satisfied with his early session, didn't bother going out in the afternoon, and actually went out spotting for Petrucci. Which was so bizarre. You got 2 tests, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, but he's so happy with the progress, he sits out the afternoon.
I sort of feel like Dovi and Ducati are just over it, aren't they?
I think that is probably half and half, where he's just I ain't going to get any more out of this, so why risk it? I'm just going to go help a teammate.
Yeah.
Who's also off, but at the contrast was struggling like hell. Weird one. And then the same thing for Bagnaia. Went out, I believe, in the second test, but also so happy he finished the session early.
It's strange, isn't it?
It's a weird one. You've got all this testing time. If it was me, I'd be out there banging the laps in, just seeing what I could find out works.
Well, that's it. And even if you do get it, but then at the same time, what's the point if you've already run through your program? If you know you've got another race there the following weekend, what's the point in going out and risking hurting yourself?
That is true. Every time you're out on track, there is just that little bit of risk to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Weird one.
It is a weird one.
Yeah, but there we go. It's only testing at the end of the day. Don't injure yourself because the race is where you get your money.
Yeah, exactly.
Then moving on, who we got next? Suzuki. They seem like they tested a lot of stuff. I think both Rins and Mears were quoted as testing new swing arm options, electronic settings, general setup. They seem like they went through the whole sort of package, both the engine and the chassis.
Okay.
So really bagging the work in, and both reporting back good progress. So, yeah.
Good stuff. I think they are going to be rapid this weekend to Suzuki's.
I think they come off of such a good weekend that to go out in a test and change too much would actually be detrimental to them.
Yeah.
They're at a position where, it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
And, they've got options there. They know what the settings were from the race weekend. Go out and test the options. But at the same time, you probably won't need them because the bike was so good from last weekend.
Yeah.
We know they haven't got concessions, so they can't make engine and chassis changes, but they could just test little tweaks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully this weekend they've used that track time to maybe just dial in a few little settings, and we might see them either both on the podium or one of them stood top step.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. I would be very surprised if we don't see Quartararo and at least one Suzuki on the podium.
Yeah, I'm not going to head for bet on a winner yet, but I'll be very surprised if there isn't a Suzuki on that podium.
Yeah,
something will have to happen. Yeah, I'd put money on that being a Suzuki.
Yeah,
I might have to stick one in my dream team. If I haven't already got one, I can't remember who's there. I'll have a look in a bit. Moving on to Aprilia, really tight-lipped about what they tested.
Okay.
Looking through the website, looking through any releases, couldn't find anything on exactly what they tested, but both riders come back and said it was a good day. So, yeah, God knows. Whatever they tested, let's just hope it makes some sort of bloody difference.
I'm sure it won't.
No, not at all. It'll probably go backwards.
Yeah.
But at this time, I'd strap a rocket to the bloody thing just to get it to go around the track quicker. But we will see. We will see. And then moving on to Honda. Apparently, Honda put in more laps than anyone.
I'm not surprised at the minute because they really need to.
I think I wrote down like full day's testing. I think they were one of the first bikes out on track and one of the last back in. Taka was just testing setup, old data apparently, just to improve the race. And Alex apparently worked on his riding style to adapt it to the bike and adapt the bike to him, and was testing parts for HRC.
It feels like if he's working on his riding style and testing new parts, like that's not an ideal situation to be in, is it?
No, I personally would look at that and think I wouldn't want to test any new parts. I would want to be out there chipping the laps their
just
way.
Just lap after lap after lap.
Because he is improving on that bike, but he's not improving enough to make inroads on everyone else who's also improving.
I don't know. Part of me thinks like this year for him is just a write-off. I don't think any rookie would be doing any better on this bike right now.
I don't know. I think you're completely right. I think the only way he's going to improve is just a phenomenal amount of time to get his head around the bike, to get the bike working in a way that he needs it to.
Yeah.
And just, let's face it, you're going to have to fight with his brother to get what he wants.
Yeah, certainly.
And then we're just going to see a wall go up.
Can you imagine?
That'd be insane. You imagine it at Christmas around that table. There'd be a wall down the middle of the table.
It'd just be a wall of crackers.
Yeah, just maybe a peak hole. Marquez, the other side, would like rose the championships, just like.
They're just throwing Brussels sprouts at each other.
Do they have Brussels in Spain?
Yes. Honestly, don't know, mate. I know very little about what Christmas in many other countries is like, actually.
I have no idea. I think we have to find out. We might have to go spend Christmas in Spain.
Go spend Christmas in Spain. You could just Google it. Well, I feel like it's a weird thing to Google, isn't it? Do they eat Brussels sprouts at Christmas in Spain? Maybe I'll Google it now. We'll just see
Google it now.
Yeah,
let's find it. We haven't really had a good Google session this podcast, and it wouldn't be us without one.
So,
while you're doing that, I'm going to see who is in my dream team. I have got Frankie and Dovi, followed by Mir and Miller. Have you gone?
No, I'm still here. Sorry, I was reading about Brussels sprouts in Spain. Right, that's completely irrelevant. So I actually just closed my fantasy squad.
Hey.
We're coming back. Let mine load and we'll be there. Right, you've got, sorry.
I have Frankie and Dovi as my gold riders.
Bloody hell, happy days.
Yeah, with Yamaha as the manufacturer, and then Mir and Miller.
Happy days, mate. That is why you're on such a tear at the minute, climbing up to the table.
Yes, and I haven't used the, whatever it is, boost.
Have you? Or you can use that every race.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. Right, I'm going to have to bang it on Frankie this week.
Yeah.
That sounded really bad.
I think you can use it every race anyway, or you can use it like 3 times or something. I don't know, but I just always use it. I think
by this, you can use it 3 times. Motul 300 V boost. Yeah, 3 of 3.
Ah, okay.
So,
It tells you, does it?
yeah. So if you hit each one of those right, happy days. I'm not going to do it quite now. I'm going to see what happens in free practice.
Yeah, I have to put mine on. I'm going with a Dovi, Quartararo, Binder, and Alex Marquez just because I haven't had a time to swap him out yet.
You can swap them out right up until qualifying.
You only get one trade a week though, and I've already done my weekly trade.
Yeah, I felt really sorry for Sarah Blesser. She did one. She had Alex Marquez, Mark Marquez, Taka. She did have Taka, and I believe Miller. And she stuck with those. Didn't realise that she could change them. I was like, you really need to get rid of the Marquez brothers.
Yeah, quite.
But what a thing to be thinking. Who would think like you've got to get rid of Marquez brothers?
Yeah, I know exactly. So I think when it comes to actually going through the people in our league, we will do that next week because this show is already running pretty late.
Yeah, I've just looked at that and realised we have been chatting. I know we didn't start recording straight away, but 2 hours and a quarter.
Yeah, we've been chatting for a while now. So you've got a life to get to, and I've got a bed with my name on it. I'm getting pretty knackered.
Right.
So listeners have probably got something they want to be doing with their lives rather than listening to us jabber on.
Probably got other stuff to do.
Yeah,
but we're well worth listening to. But
so I guess we'll call it there. We will go through the Fantasy League in the next episode, and hopefully we won't manage to chat quite as much shit, and we won't be talking for quite as long next time.
We did chuck the testing notes in this one. That's probably taken up 20 minutes. So
that, and we just too many tangents, mate. It's always tangents.
There was a lot of tangents in this one, though. It's a fairly involved tangents.
Yeah. So, guys, if you like the tangents, do me a solid. Jump onto iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Give us a review. You can tell us what you think, and maybe subscribe if you haven't already.
Hit subscribe. That really helps.
Yeah, it's all pretty helpful. If you want to contact us at all, you can do so on.
We are FTLOMotoGP at gmail.com. Got it right this week. Got it this week, month, whatever. Been going on for a while. Or you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at For the Love of MotoGP. We have got a Facebook page we are working on. We are slowly building that up. And again, that is just For the Love of MotoGP. Yeah. But anything you want to let us know. Any feedback, anything you want us to talk about or change, our suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, that's it. So thank you very much for that, guys. Thank you very much for listening. And if you got to the end, you are a superstar. And we will speak to you next week. Goodbye.
Take care.